Yo. All right. Sorry. I always got to start off the show with a test of the mic. I record each one of my episodes off of the voice memo app on the iPhone. So conveniently, I can see the sound I'm making. So that's pretty convenient. I actually thought I was going to do this episode a lot earlier today, and I don't know. I'm such a procrastinator. I lose focus. I do something else. I figure while I'm doing that other thing, whatever it is, making my food or whatever, I might as well watch some videos on YouTube since that's the only thing I really enjoy watching as far as television goes anymore. Movies are terrible. Anything halfway decent is rare. Television shows are shit. You really have to go like into the past 20, 30 years ago. The further back, probably the better it gets. Because everything is crap now. It's just propaganda, right? So I really don't want to, I don't enjoy it. I mean, I see the message clearly. I'm not ignorant to what they're trying to make society believe. And it's always stupid. And I'm not saying that there wasn't a message in the stuff before. It's just that I don't know, they hit it a little better. So they provided you with an enjoyable story while still trying to brainwash you. And now they're not even doing that. It really feels like whoever the fuck is in charge of society, they have no respect for the people now. Not that they ever did, but at least they kind of thought, well, we got to try a little harder. Now they're not even trying. They don't hide the fact that they're trying to brainwash people. It seems like their only point of view is that, well, we're not aiming this at older people that might have a clue or two as to what is actually happening. We don't care. We're aiming this at the youngest of people so that they grow up thinking everything is backwards. And when they're older, they'll think that everything that people thought before was only out of ignorance. That's what I think is happening. Because it doesn't make any logical sense that a company like Disney would actually be this fucking stupid as to put out bomb after bomb after bomb, and they're all pretty much the same story. If money mattered to them, clearly it doesn't. Any other company in the past, I can't say the same thing about in the present, would have learned from one bomb. Like, we're not going to do that again. And I'm not saying that they would never bomb again, but at least they would take a while before they would try something as stupid. How do you go against the grain and expect to make a lot of money? You wouldn't. How do you put so much money into a project that's only for a very small group of people? You wouldn't. At the very least, you would want to cater to every group so that you can recover your money to even stand a chance of walking away with a profit. That's not what's being done today. We're pretty much just saying, fuck everyone else. We are pandering to one group of people because we're actually pandering to the even smaller group of people that controls the narrative for that group. Like Sweet Baby Inc. Fucking garbage. I haven't been excited for a new video game in a very long time. The last video game I was actually excited for was, I think it's called Hellblade, Hellblade 2. Senua's, I don't know what the fuck. And I played it on PlayStation. So when they announced this is going to be an Xbox exclusive, I hated that, but I honestly considered buying an Xbox just to be able to play it. I was so excited, like I'm sure many other people, because I did play the first one. I actually completed that game. I liked it that much. It was interesting. I liked the story. We were talking about it was talking about um, Norse mythology, and so I was all into it. I was really enjoying it. I like the fact that the leading actress is not an actor. I think she does the special effects or something like that. But man, I am happy that they got her because she is a beauty, and it's hilarious that she's so good at being Senua, and she is not an actress, an actor, whatever. So that says a lot about acting school. It's probably more brainwashing. I mean, I don't want to diminish acting like it's not something that has a ton of layers, because it does and it can. But in the end, I mean, pretty much what you need is say the lines right with conviction, and that could be hard on its own if you have to memorize the lines as well, and to not be afraid, not be embarrassed. If you got those two things down, you can do a pretty good job. Now, next level, amazing, Oscar worthy performances, well, then, yeah, I would recommend like a lot of school or research, practice. Yeah. When the game came out, I didn't get an Xbox. I wasn't sure. Still, I felt a little iffy about, is this going to be good, because I kept seeing a trend of video games, and they were all garbage, all shit. Good video games were so few and far between. I mean, last year, how many video games came out? A shitload, right? Okay. How many video games from last year, do you actually remember? I only remember three. Tears of the Kingdom, and as enjoyable as that was, if we can be honest, it's just repetitive puzzle solving from the temples. Like, that's the majority of it. If you remove that, that's one short ass game. It was still fun though. I think I think games like that. which are really great, I would give it a 10. But if you want to play a video game like an idiot, like me, nonstop, because you just can't stand the idea of not knowing what comes next, you're gonna end up hating it. You're gonna end up hating video games in general. I did. After playing Tears of the Kingdom nonstop until I beat it and did everything, I was like, I hate video games. I never want to play video games ever again. I played Demon Souls, the PS5 remake, in the same fashion. I played Elden Ring like that as well, except I actually stopped myself short of passing the entire Elden Ring. I don't know why, but then going back, I never got into that groove again. And I always meant to. I'd like to. Maybe for a Twitch stream, I would love to beat Elden Ring. Demon Souls, I actually stopped right at the end. The final boss was a little intimidating, knowing that the guy had the power to lower your stats. I was like, fuck that. It took me a long ass time to get that. Um, that's where I left that game. Although I would love to get back into that one just to beat that final friggin' boss and get that stupid ass ending. I've already seen it on a YouTube video. But yeah, I have a ton of PlayStation games that ever since I got the what's that subscription? Not the regular plus, but the middle tier, not the essential. It's the I don't fucking know. But you get a bunch of games with that one. So it's like $5 more a month for that one. I think it's worth it if you play a lot of video games. If you don't, then probably not. For right now, it's worth it. Eventually, though, I'd like to just sort of get rid of it instead of just having a gigantic variety of fucking games that I don't even play. I mean, I do every once in a while. It's not a daily thing. It's like I don't know. It's been a long time. I'll play video games with my daughters here. When she's not, it'll really depend. Like I rented these two games from GameFly, the Paper Mario, the Thousand Year Door. I like it. I'm enjoying it. It's simplistic as fuck, but it's also super cute. So it keeps me wanting to see what else they do. The dialogue is not boring, it's quirky. And I'm enjoying it. Sorry. I don't know why, but I just had a salad with some liver. I was a super vegan for over a year, and I loved it. I loved it. I felt so energetic, so good. It was the best. I think that happened from the suggestion of Mind Unveiled that, you know, eating dead flesh is, you know, living a death lifestyle. And I couldn't disagree. And I really felt good not eating meat, but then something started to happen where I was losing energy and I wasn't sure if it had to do with my diet. Honestly, what I think it had to do was I had the wrong people in my life, and was in a relationship with the wrong person. And I believe that we are electrical beings, energy beings, and the type of people you are intimate with can really fuck you up. Like there'll be a transference of energy. That person might take from you and give you some of their energy. And if their energy is bad, well, it'll affect you, obviously. I, I would like to go back to being a vegan. But let me just say that even though I'm not practicing right now, since I will eat meat um, rarely and very little, I don't know. I don't like it. I'm not saying I don't like the meat. It can be pretty tasty, of course, but I don't. I kind of think that you are what you eat, and there's a big difference between eating a powerful animal and incorporating that to your own body, and as opposed to eating a very weak animal that lives in horrible conditions. So, I mean, most of these animals that we, most of these dead animals that we can purchase at the grocery store to eat, um, we're not healthy. Are we really supposed to think that we're going to become healthier eating that? If you are what you eat, then maybe there's no surprise that a lot of people are becoming weaker, dumber, and less healthy. I will say that I am thankful that I eat very little and I can still have a good amount of energy. And like I said, I do attribute that to having broken up with that person. And it's funny since my birthday was on Saturday, and I got to talk to her, and she now claims that she broke up with me, which I'm not going to argue with her. I don't argue with anybody unless I know that they're genuinely mistaken, but they're open minded about it, so they're willing to be corrected. You know, there's not a lot of people that enjoy being corrected. So even if you know they're wrong, why correct them if you know that they're not going to accept it? They're going to make a big fuss over it. They're going to get upset, and it's just not worth it. But I thought that was funny because it's not the first time. I don't know why it took me so long to break up with that person because I actually did it multiple times. But then she would talk to me, or I would talk to her, and then we would see each other, and then you know I'd be stupid and oh man, my mic just moved. Whoops. It's on a like a very light tripod, and actually holding it like a stand-up comedian, but I'm sitting down, so that cancels that. And I got some coffee. I used to drink the cacao powder instead of the coffee, but I don't have that right now, so I'm drinking the coffee. I don't like coffee. I mean, sure, it can make you feel like a little bit more awake, right? But it doesn't give you energy. It just sort of activates your stress hormone or whatever. That same feeling you have when, I don't know, you're about to be mugged, and you just dodge that and you're out of there. You got all that adrenaline, or you were almost hit by a bus and you get a rush of that adrenaline, right? That's a survival uh, thing that happens in your body in those situations where you gotta either fight or take the fuck off, and it's a useful thing that we humans have the ability to do. But I mean, drinking coffee simply to activate that stress can have some serious side effects. One of the most common side effects that I absolutely hate this, and almost everyone that I've talked to in my life, people that I've seen at the gym, and have told me the same thing, that coffee will make you irritable. Surprise, surprise, right? Everyone I've seen that drinks coffee regularly is a bit of an asshole. They're easily offended. They can easily get riled up and become upset over little shit. It's the coffee, you know? I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of stuff on top of that, but the coffee doesn't help, you know? If you're an unhappy person, don't drink fucking coffee. If you got a ton of problems, the coffee's just going to make it worse. If you're easily offended, if I don't know, your life isn't going the way you planned, and you're very upset about it, the last thing you want to do is drink coffee. Now I know that it's addicting as well, especially with all the shit that people can put in it, right? Like sugar, which is extremely addicting. And if you're used to taking your shot of sugar with coffee, it's going to be near impossible for you to stop. But I think the cacao powder is a great substitute. It doesn't have any of those side effects. It is a healthy antioxidant. It's the best. And if you can afford it, get it. It really doesn't cost that much. You can get it at Walmart. I think the bag is like somewhere around 10, maybe $12. So it's not cheap, but it's worth it. And if you know anything about healthy foods, you know that they will always cost more than the unhealthy substitute. I mean, if you think life is just about fucking money, then your health is probably suffering. So, but yeah, I'm one to talk, right? I just did a fucking promo for anything but coffee, and I'm having coffee. Okay. And my bad. I'm not enjoying it. But since I haven't gotten the cacao powder in like a month, my parents, when they're visiting me with my daughter, they'll bring coffee. They love coffee. I think I did get them to quit for a while when we were living together, but since I moved out, of course they just went back to their fucking old habits of coffee, and they are hoarders and they do not know how to organize anything. So if you walk into their home, it doesn't feel like a home. It's like a warehouse, you know. There's like boxes stacked on top of boxes on top of boxes. I mean, it's horrible. And I recently heard that they they brought one of their, I say their daughters. I won't. I refuse to acknowledge them since I didn't grow up with them. So since I didn't grow up with their daughters, it's weird to refer to them as my siblings because they're like, to me, they're complete strangers. Like, to them, that's family. To me, that's not family. I don't know them. So it's I guess the people that could relate to this are going to be people that have like one of your parents married somebody else and had kids, but let's say you're not close to that parent, so you're probably not going to be close to those kids. So it's similar to that, I guess. It's very strange, and I'll get into it much later on. Anyways, one of their daughters has a cat. They brought it with them because apparently that daughter was having problems with her uh what do you call it? They're not married, but they've been living together for like uh 8 years. That can't be. Since like 2000, late 2017. So then what would that be? Um, yeah, 7 years. Almost 7 years. And they never got married. They do not have children. They sleep in separate bedrooms. They have a ton of dogs and cats. Um, I guess that's their children's substitute. I'm not mad at them for not having kids. If you're not ready to have kids, please don't. I mean, I know people don't want to hear this, but I mean, consider it for a moment. I think that if you have to take a driver's license test, not just writing but actually driving with an instructor, in order to be licensed to drive a vehicle that weighs probably over a ton, some more, it's a murder machine pretty much. And that's why you have to be licensed in order to be allowed to drive it. Don't you think that maybe we should do the same thing to become parents? Honestly, think about it. If you are not a good parent, you're going to raise this child to be a piece of shit or a murderer. So I'm just saying, we tend to overlook the behavior of one of the parents. You know, we'll shit on one of the parents like crazy and then pretend that the other parent is just the answer to everything, even if that person is shitty. I'll give you a great example. I was watching a Joey B uh, clip the other day. Maybe it was yesterday. That's another day, isn't it? And I'm not sure if it was yesterday. Anyways, he's telling me and he's showing me that one of the people from The Sopranos, a show that I absolutely loved. I thought it was the best. I thought there was no other show that was better than The Sopranos. I mean, Breaking Bad was awesome. And I think a lot of the people behind the scenes that worked on The Sopranos also worked on Breaking Bad. Some of the episode directors were the same people. Um, and yeah, I loved Breaking Bad. It was great, but there was something else about The Sopranos. So the story in Breaking Bad was awesome, and it kept me wanting more. The premise, the actors, Walter White was iconic, but so was Tony Soprano. I mean, James Gandolfini was so fucking unbelievably incredible. I mean, that guy even changed his voice just to sound like Tony Soprano. You know, it's I can't do it. Obviously, I believe in some of the interviews I've seen, because he grew up with people that actually may have been involved in that lifestyle. He already had like mental references to go off of and find that Tony Soprano voice. So his normal voice is just like anybody else's, but his soprano, his Tony Soprano, like he kind of squeezes his voice a little bit so that he could. I don't know what the thought process was behind that. Like maybe sound a little immature yet sinister, because the character of Tony was absolutely fucking immature, and he had, like most immature people, a temper. But but he was also like incredibly smart, you know. So it was a dangerous combination. I don't know. I could talk for a very long time about The Sopranos. I used to own the show. I had it in DVD, and I still think, as far as shows go, there's really not anything that can compare. I mean, I think it beats Breaking Bad. I'm sure a lot of people might be like, "No, Breaking Bad was the best," and I'm not gonna argue it. I loved Breaking Bad as well. I mean, I don't think there was a bad episode in Breaking Bad, just like with The Sopranos. I can't remember which one's longer. The Sopranos had 6 seasons, right? And then they did this really odd thing where I think there may have been a another season, but it wasn't a full season. It was just like the part two of the previous season. Like this is the finale. Like HBO pretty much just begged us, and we caved in because of money. That was a show that I wish they would have kept it going on for a little longer. I mean, if Friends could go on for 10 seasons, why the fuck couldn't they do the same thing for The Sopranos? It was great. It was good. Why would David Chase want? I mean, I'm not saying that he didn't end it right. It was an awesome ending. I think he ended it perfectly. I just wish he would have extended the ending for a few more seasons. So I have no idea why he ended it there and not, I don't know. Even fucking Game of Thrones went on till, what was it? Like 8 seasons? I think it was 8 seasons, which, I mean, honestly, Game of Thrones would have benefited as well, being stretched out to like 10 seasons, because it felt like they were rushing it. Okay, let's keep it going. I actually had to pause for a moment. Let's see if I remember what I was saying. Game of Thrones, from the Song of Ice and Fire, Song of Ice and Fire books by Gur Martin. I really loved the books. I've read the books before I saw the show, and I read the books because of the show. I had seen the first season, and that was it. Not sure why I didn't watch more of the show, but I'm glad I did it the way I did. Obviously, when you read the book, you get more detail out of the story. You're not really confused about anything because the show will go a little faster. You know, it's all about showing you, not telling you, and you might miss some things. I know I did. I when it comes to like the Harry Potter movies, I love the movies, but I won't tell you that I got it 100%. Not until I started reading the books did I go like, "Oh, okay, I know what's going on." I think I started reading the books around the fourth movie. Like before the fifth movie came out, I just said, I'm not going to wait. And I read the fifth one and the sixth one. The seventh one hadn't come out yet, so I just reread them. Well, not reread them. I went back and I started reading them from the first book. And again, I was able to enjoy the movies way more because of it. And I was one of those people that when the seventh book came out, I went and I got it. I may have even bought the thing at the midnight sale. Anyways, fuck you, G.R.R. Martin, for not putting out the next damn book. So he put out the first four books. It didn't take that long. Then HBO turned it into a show and got popular. Everybody figured, you know, by the time we get to where the fifth book is, he would have published it already. Nope. It's been over a decade since the fourth book was published. There was a preview of the fifth book included, I believe. And he's been teasing ever since that I'm about to publish it. Or it's going real good. But then he starts doing something else, and we know that if he's not just doing that, it's never going to happen. And now it's to the point where I honestly don't give a shit. I'm not even sure that I would buy it. Like, that's how upsetting it fucking is that he's like, I, I'm enjoying my life. I don't give a fuck. And why would he? Like, do you think that J. Rowling is ever going to write another Harry Potter book? Like, why wouldn't she? I'd buy it. I'd read it. Well, the reason she wouldn't is because she's so fucking rich. She has no necessity. There's no need for her to do it, right? That's why you'll never get another Harry Potter book. She got so stankin' rich off of it and the movies that she doesn't need to do anything. I mean, it'd be cool if she did. If we got to see the new generation, like Hermione and Harry Potter's kids, you know, who's the villain going to be? Because of course, it's got to be another villain. I mean, in those the prequel series, what the fuck is it called? Wonderful, Fantastic Beasts. I don't know. I was enjoying that series, kind of, not as much, and it sucks that I know why. Because because of the cast. Now, there's nothing wrong with who they casted. Talented group of people, enjoyable to watch, but clearly not enough or not as much as young people. I think it's always a recipe for success and disaster when you make a movie with children. There's there's a magic and energy and comes from the innocence and we all remember being kids, so it's it's much more, it draws us in a lot more. You care about these characters that are being represented by young people a lot more. And with the Fantastic Beasts movies, um, there's no kids. It's a bunch of good looking, talented, but middle aged adults. And it's kind of weird because that franchise is built on top of the franchise that had us following a group of adolescents, kids, even at first. So, you know, it was a gamble for sure. But I was willing to, go with it. I was really enjoying those movies. Johnny Depp is the new villain. Awesome. He looks great. That was super cool. We don't want Johnny Depp for the next one because Amber Heard said shit about him, and oh man, it has to be true because otherwise, why would she say it? Why would she make that up? And then they just went along and did it without him, and it was, they got a great actor to replace him. Um, the guy from the Hannibal TV series did a great job at that show. Well, the first season. I loved the first season. Um, and it wasn't that he did a shit job. He was great, but we had already been introduced to this character one movie ago with Johnny Depp. So I didn't like that. I hated it. And then they chose that movie to drop the bomb on everyone. By the way, Dumbledore, you know why he wasn't married and he didn't have kids? Because he's gay. Yeah. How do you like that? Fuck Johnny Depp. um, I didn't like it. I would have preferred Johnny Depp in the movie, and the whole Amber Heard thing was still just a bunch of allegations, which for some odd fucking reason in Britain, when he tried saying to those journalists, like, you're slandering the fuck out of me when it's all allegations, guy. And Britain's like, fuck off, wanker. We're keeping shit the way it is, and you're guilty in our eyes, so just fuck off, which is just stupid. The British. No offense to the Irish. I love the Irish, especially the Irish women. My goodness, those ladies are the best looking. The Irishmen, just like the what are the other ones that I've mentioned before? I don't know. The Irishmen are hideous. I'm joking. I'm kidding. My point is, even though I don't think that Irishmen are the best looking, they're very strong, and that's similar to like the Russians. Russian women are incredibly good looking, and the men are they're strong. You know, interesting how that correlates, and I think it does correlate perfectly. I think that men should not be pretty. I mean, you can do whatever you want to, but I think men are meant to be strong. And I mean, if you can be good looking and strong, plus for you, awesome. Same thing with women. If you can be beautiful and strong, amazing. Full package right there. And honestly, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I think that anybody that has good health is good looking. That's it. That's the formula. You might look at somebody that has good health and be like, well, they don't appeal to me, but you can't deny that they look good. Anybody that has good health will look good no matter what. Okay. So, yeah, Game of Thrones would have benefited a shitload in those final seasons where they were just riffing, and because there was no book, right? You pretty much just had to like say to George, like, "Hey, dude, so since writing's tough, right?" And I don't want to super shit on him because I've been writing since I was young. You know how many things I've published? Nothing. Why? Well, when I was young, I was a perfectionist because I thought it can't it can't be anything but perfect. Otherwise, it's shit, which is just stupid. It's like amateurish. I should have been doing like what I'm doing right now with the podcast. Like, I wish I could go and talk to my younger self and just be like, okay, yeah, but you're going to learn with practice. And wouldn't it be awesome if you could get paid while you're getting better? So just have fun with it. Don't try to, go down the route of Stanley Kubrick. Um, his work is amazing. It's a work of art. It's unchallengeable, if you get my drift. um, but he didn't make that many movies, you know, where you go to somebody else that's like, uh, I don't want to say less talented, but I will say somebody else that maybe doesn't look at it like a sacred whatever. Uh, Not every shot needs to be an incredible work of art, like in a Stanley Kubrick movie. And you'll see that some of these other directors, they got shitload, like 50 movies under their belt that they directed because they're all low budget, they're all simple stories, and they're not exactly works of art. They're entertaining, they're enjoyable, they're interesting, and they're simplistic. Whereas Stanley Kubrick was embedding a ton of hidden messages and occult stuff in almost every shot. The acting was, of course, next level because he would accept nothing less. And I'm glad those movies exist. I mean, they're really like at the top of potential and what's possible. And I mean, it worked out for him, but I don't think we're all in a position of his caliber. He used to be a photographer and then he became a filmmaker, so he knew what a good picture was. Um, and I mean, anybody can as well. You could read a book and now you'll know, but it's not the same as having the actual hands-on experience like he did from being a photographer first. I think it's also interesting when filmmakers used to be something else or they started off as something else. I mean, like David Lynch, who was a painter, graduated from art school, and then he became a filmmaker. Um, that's why his work is so incredible. It's very different. It's it's a work of art as well. It might not be for everyone, but I mean, Mulholland Drive is one of the best movies ever made. Um, yeah, so that would have been cool, publishing a bunch of stuff like that dude, the critical drinker. My God, I could not believe he's published that many books. what is it, like 19 or something like that. I mean, I've never read his stuff, but I have more respect for the guy that he's actually putting in this much work. Unbelievable. That was incredible. When I first saw that, I would not have ever guessed that some dude that calls himself the critical drinker is a published author of that many books. Awesome. Now, somebody tell me if they're any good. Regardless, it's way better than what I'm doing. I'm still working on my stuff. I'm writing it. The first book I would love to publish is an anthology of all my old short stories inside of a bigger story. And I've been working on that for a while. I'm ashamed to say, but it's right up there with Gurr. Um, Game of Thrones, if they had gone to, like, let's say 10 seasons, so that they could have stretched out the stories that they were planning for those, what was it, like the final seasons that had stuff that was not from a book. I think they paced it a little fast. I think that's what really made it suffer. So to me, uh, the television series, or I don't know, it's not television, it's HBO, that were the best was Sopranos, Breaking Bad. Lost was a lot of fun, but was it good? Uh, it's arguable. I think there were a lot of good things, and I think it's relevant to put that in the right next to Breaking Bad, or real close to Sopranos, because the same people that were involved in the Sopranos behind the scenes were also involved on Lost. Like, some of the episodes had same directors. I think his name was Jack. Not Jack from the island, but was it, his last name was Bender, and I think he was a director on all three of those shows for some of the episodes. I don't think that Lost is in the third place. It doesn't feel like a show that I would recommend to people. Like, you cannot miss this. It was really entertaining, but I won't call it like, oh, masterpiece, so incredible. It was fun. It was interesting. It had lots of twists and turns, and I really enjoyed it. Is it better than Breaking Bad? No, no. Is it better than The Sopranos? Not even close. No. But maybe it is in the third place slot. I know some people might say, like, no, Game of Thrones goes there. Not to me. No. Game of Thrones was not consistently good. Lost was consistent. So was Breaking Bad. So was Sopranos. Game of Thrones, no. It it peaked around the fourth season, maybe the fifth season, and it was just downhill from there. Um, I would love a sequel instead of a fucking prequel. I would have really preferred it if HBO had said, okay, well, J.R.R. Martin is never going to publish the new books, right? He's probably going to, I'm not going to say it. Uh, he's not going to be around always. And if he does publish the fifth book, what about the one that comes after that? Um, Whatever. So that's why I'm not gonna hold my breath. I'm not gonna anticipate it. I don't give a shit anymore. Especially after seeing HBO's ending to the series. Like, okay, fine, whatever. That's enough. I would have loved to have seen a sequel series. I know some of the hardcore fans are going to be like, "Yeah, but the prequel is actually based off of something that had his Martin's name on it," and I don't give a shit, honestly. The show was great. The books were better, but they weren't finished. So the show had a shitty ending, but it was still good enough that I would have been curious to see what happened with Jon Snow, who is now not Jon Snow anymore. He found out that he was dun dun dun. I'm not going to spoil it. What happened with Arya? Um, did she just have sex with that one dude and that's it? Did she ever get back with him? Did she get older? I mean, wouldn't that be great to see? Well, the characters that did not die get back together and like Brienne of Tarth. I think that's how you say her name. Yeah, to see what's up with her. What's up with the Arya and the sister. Um, I don't know. I left off in the book around the part where the church was taking control over the city. Um, they weren't called the church. I can't remember what they were called. And I thought, like, I wonder where this is going. Maybe this is all esoteric occult information, and they're pretty much telling us how society is going to come about, and it's all just a lie. That's what it's gonna lead up to. Of course not. If JR is friendly with Mr. Stephen King, who's most definitely a Freemason, I don't think that Gurr would ever want to tell us anything revealing. Oh well. After all that rant, let me just get to my point real quick. It's not going to be quick. What's her name? Drea de Matteo has an OnlyFans. Drea was Andrea, I think that was her name, Christopher's fiance, until you know what happened with the character, and she started seeing Mr. Soprano himself, and then she became unalived. Such a stupid way of saying she got killed. Um, really? Like you can't say killed, you have to say unalived? Anyways, so Drea in real life has a son. From what I saw on Joey's clip, uh, he's like 13, but when he was 12, he was complaining to his mom about her OnlyFans account. And her comeback, which she talked about in a couple of shows, like it's funny, was that she would tell her son, like, hey, do you like your jacket? Do you like your shoes? You like this and that? Well, mommy's ass paid for it. And that would shut him up. Something is pretty fucking wrong with our society if that's acceptable. Um, then she said on a podcast, I think a podcast belonging to one of the Soprano kids, not sure which one. I saw both of them on there. She was saying now he's 13 and he actually helps me edit the images that she puts up. What the fuck? I mean, I am not about to go on her OnlyFans page. And it's not because she's 51. She's still good looking. She's an attractive woman. I just don't want to ever pay for that. I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't have a computer. I didn't have a computer until I was, oh wait, okay, until I was 12. That's not so old. But I didn't get the internet. My parents would refuse to get me the fucking internet. They didn't get it. And I honestly, I was a kid, so I was like, I don't know what I don't know. So since I never really had it, I was fine. Like, oh, you don't want to get me the internet? All right, whatever. And I didn't have the internet until I was 18. So before that, porn was a commodity. It was something rare. It was not readily available like it is today. You could have probably convinced me then because I wouldn't have known any better. Nowadays, porn is free, which lowers its value. Um, who the fuck pays for pornography now? Honestly, why is that industry still doing well? I don't get it. And maybe that's because I've never paid for it. I'm lying. One time when I was a kid, there was this catalog called Adam and Eve, and there was a like a 6 hour movie of the best of Jenna Jameson, and she was in the Howard Stern movie, which is how I heard of her, and I just thought, wow, she's attractive. And apparently, you could order it through mail. So they never knew that I was just a kid. And I would always get the mail myself. I didn't want my parents to know. And so I had that. That was my porn. And I did the same thing with Playboy magazine, which was the initial reason why I would always get the mail myself every day. And of course, I loved it. It's not healthy, it's very bad. My recommendation to any parent out there that has a son or a daughter who constantly wants to get the mail, yeah, check on that. Might be a reason. Anyways, that was actually the only time I ever bought pornography, ever. I mean, I guess I was, you know, one tape that was 6 hours long. Yeah, I'm fine. This is it. I don't need thousands of hours nonstop, never ending pornography. That's total overkill. And that's where we're at now. So I don't know. And it's free. I don't know why anybody would pay for OnlyFans. And I know she's not the only actress to come out of Hollywood that has her own OnlyFans account as well. I mean, there's Denise Richards, and even Denise Richards' daughter. I've never seen it. I don't care to. Um, so I can't speak on it very much, right? I mean, you can imagine that it's sexual. That's a for sure. It's sexual. I don't know if she's like bare ass naked, spread eagle. I have no idea. I hope not, because Drea De Matteo saying that her 13-year-old helps edit the images. Like, oh, that's too much of the bikini line. I quote, she said that. Um, did she really fucking say that, or am I remembering what Joey B said? I hope not. I don't know. But if she did fucking say that, check out Joey B's clip. If she did say that, I mean, then he makes this perfect comment. He's like, "What does it take for child services to get involved? If I send them this video, are they going to do anything about it?" It's so fucking horrible because I mean, what is that young man going to turn into when he's an adult looking back on what mommy made him do? Guilted him into being okay with it and even made him help. I have no idea, but I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's good. I think the fact that Drea is oblivious to what she's doing, the reality of what's going on, and where's the father of your son? Nobody brought that up. Nobody said, what does he think of what she's doing with his son? It's just fucking crazy. Yeah, I've known some people like that as well. There was this one lady I knew uh, 8 years ago. I briefly dated this woman, and I very quickly broke up with her when I had bought her a phone, and there was something very shady going on. She lived by herself with her daughter, and one day I saw pictures in her phone, and it was nude pictures that she was sending one of her female friends. And they were also including pictures of money, like, hey, I got this much from the guy I'm with. Yeah, well, I got this much. And I don't know why you would do that, but whatever. My bigger problem was she wasn't the one taking the picture. The angle was of a smaller person. She was making her daughter take the pictures. What do you do in a situation like that when you know that today's society is ruled by villains, Satanists, and if a woman is a bad mother, fucked up in the head, and does shit like that, there's a ton of regulations and laws and formalities and customs that will prevent that woman from having to suffer any real consequences compared to what would happen to a man in the exact same situation. Can you fucking imagine some dad saying to their kid, take these sexual pictures of me, daughter, son? Okay, dad. If anybody found out, that motherfucker's going to prison, and nobody's going to stand up for him and go, well, it's a misunderstanding. I mean, he's not trying to molest his child or anything. No, nobody's going to stand up for that guy because that is fucked up and everybody knows it. It's kind of weird when the exact situation, but the genders are different. And now all of a sudden, nobody knows what the fuck to do. I didn't. If you're listening to me right now, you're probably thinking, call the police, call Child Protective Services. Yeah. Well, I did that once. Once. And nothing. No, wait. I've done it twice. I've done it twice. And twice, nothing. That's probably why when I saw it happening that time, I wasn't motivated to do it again. I just felt like I don't want anything to do with this disgusting person. That's the world we live in right now. Hopefully it gets better. Anyways, I plan to. This was only supposed to be like 30 minutes. And look, I've been talking and ranting away for like an hour and 10 minutes. Jeez. Well, this was episode 6. Hope y'all liked it. See you tomorrow. Maybe. We'll see. Why not? Yeah. But like late at night, I think. All right. Have a good day, everybody. Later.